Ladies and gentlemen, this is DVP World. You're watching another edition of Military Mind, bringing you news from the front lines. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. On the night of July 29th, Russia launched a large-scale attack on Ukraine, firing 2 Iskander ballistic missiles and 37 Shahed attack drones, according to Ukraine's Air Force. In Zaporizhia, a Russian strike hit a penal colony located near the village of Belikove, according to the regional governor. Now, the attack involved 4 guided aerial bombs. 17 inmates were killed and at least 42 others were injured. Meanwhile, in Russia's Rostov region, Ukrainian drones targeted the city of Selsk. Falling debris caused significant disruptions. Passenger trains were delayed, traffic was halted, and 1 car was hit, killing the driver. A private home and an electrical substation were also damaged. Authorities recorded a fire at the Selsk railway station after debris struck the electrical system, forcing train operations to stop. Russian Railways said that windows in 2 passenger cars were shattered, but all passengers were safely evacuated and no injuries were reported. A stationary freight train also caught fire. On the front line, Ukrainian serviceman Bunyatov has reported simultaneous Russian activity on the Seversk island and in the forest in the Liman sector. While Russian advances were stopped near Seversk, they managed to push forward in the woodland areas of Liman. Bunyatov attributes this to the limited effectiveness of FPV drones in forest terrain, the shortage of UAV bombers and the cluster munitions, as well as the underperformance of some Ukrainian strike drone units. The Russian military has confirmed gains in the Serebryansk forest, saying that their forces captured a children camp near Lake Chernikovo. Now to the front lines, where a new wave of military absurdity is unfolding within Russian units. Footage circulating online shows yet another improvised version of a so-called Stormtrooper, a soldier being prepped for a one-time assault in terrain that's nearly impossible to navigate. Through these makeshift drills, the Russian command continues to drain its own manpower, sending poorly trained, ill-equipped, and ideologically driven disposable soldiers into battle.
Да, молодец. 25-30 сантиметров препятствия, прошу заметить. Мы проходим.
This next footage coming shows a city that no longer exists, a Ukrainian drone flying over Vovchansk in the Kharkiv region. Once a quiet border town, it now stands as a stark symbol of Russian aggression. Streets that recently echoed with everyday life have become battlefields. The buildings are skeletal ruins. Cars just burn out shells and schoolyards are cratered and lifeless. After relentless waves of shelling, the city has been all but erased from existence. Now, these images are more than scenes of destruction. They're a record of war against Ukrainian cities and civilians, a clear reminder that terror and the targeting of infrastructure remain key tactics of the Russian army in the border regions. On one of the eastern front lines, where the land has known no peace for a long time, Ukrainian defenders from the 54th Separate Mechanized Brigade and the 81st Separate Airborne Brigade repelled a large-scale mechanized assault. Russian forces attempted a massive pressure tactic, deploying 6 tanks, 3 armored personnel carriers, 6 MTLB armored transport vehicles, a Brim repair and evacuation vehicle, 14 trucks, and an astonishing 41 motorcycles. The scale and speed of the attack resembled an attempt at a lightning breakthrough along a narrow section of the front. But the Ukrainian defense was ready, calm, precise, and unyielding. As a result, nearly all of the Russian equipment was destroyed or rendered unusable. Preliminary estimates report 47 Russian troops killed and another 69 wounded. The Pokrovsk area remains one of the most intense areas on Ukraine's front line. Here, Russian forces are not only pushing forward directly, but also using well-trained reconnaissance and sabotage groups. Now, their goal is to locate logistic hubs, track supply routes, and transmit coordinates, paving the way for suicide drones, artillery, or multiple launch rocket systems to strike. Recently, one such shadow Russian operator was spotted near a key facility. The mission to eliminate him was handed to the scouts from the 1st Operational Battalion of the National Guard Brigade. So let's take a look at a fragment of that operation.
Сдавайся! Что говоришь? Руки, с***а! Руки, чтоб я видел, нахуй! Руки подними, блядь! Выше, сука! Чтоб я тебя видел! Граната, ты кинул. Выходи, сука! Жить будешь, блядь! Выходи, слово даю, что стрелять не будем! Я вышел! Руки! Нас иди! На ты стреляешь, ты! Ну, сука! Руки подними, блядь! Сюда иди, кто ты пошел? На голос, сука! Где он? Ты видишь его? Где он? Где ты, блядь? Где он? Давай. Еще одну закину. Давай. Дом. Въебите с одноразким. Давай. Разочек хотя бы, блядь. Пострел.
And with that footage, we conclude this edition of Military Mind. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.